If you're on Facebook, you've possibly noticed some of your friends have been posting things for which they're thankful each day during this month of November. Recognizing that our country's sad moral condition is due in part to our lack of thankfulness to God, as stated in Romans 1, I have decided to join the movement, and I was doing fine until the morning after the election. I'll admit it was tough to think about being thankful in the face of such depressing news. But then I thought about the things that had not changed in my life over the last 12 hours. And here's what I wrote. Day 7. Today, I am thankful that when I awoke after 3.5 hours of blissful sleep, the house was warm, thanks to our electric heaters. When I flipped a switch, the lights came on. I was able to make delicious coffee in less than 3 minutes. I pushed a button and Fox and Friends came on. A bit later, I enjoyed a hot shower and clean, drinkable water provided by the city. And even later, I dined on a delicious breakfast of store-bought eggs and cheese that I had been safely stored in my electric refrigerator, while I checked the 10-day weather forecast on my smartphone. For all of these luxuries, I give thanks to Almighty God today. I call them luxuries because not one of those things I mentioned is actually needed to sustain my physical life in this world. I ask God to forgive me for taking those blessings for granted, and even beginning to look at them as needs. In doing so, I've made idols of comfort and pleasure. I mention this today because, and I hope no one will think me melodramatic for saying this, over the past several years, I have increasingly and sincerely wondered how much longer we will be allowed to enjoy these luxuries in this land we call home. The American people continually move toward choosing pleasure, comfort, security, government, and many other little g gods over Christ, the risen King. How much longer will God put up with this? We're seeing the clouds of judgment swirling overhead. We're feeling the bite of the winds of God's wrath. Will we wake up before complete disaster strikes? The reality of where we are and where we may be headed is causing me to reevaluate my life and my priorities today. Some thoughts about changes in the days ahead. Less Fox and Friends and more Bible. Less TV in general and more praise music and classic devotional books. Less activity and more prayer. Less whining and more walking. Less chit-chat and more challenge. Less Facebook and more face-to-face. Less of me and more of Him. From me to you, happy Thanksgiving.